We know if we go to Asia, the Orient, there are many gods and deities, statues of before Confucianism and before Taoism or Buddhism, there was another faith. The Chinese called this god Shang-Ti, which means Lord of Heaven. The Koreans knew him as Hanamim, the Great One. The earliest Chinese religions specify Shanti alone as the object of worship. They worship as the Lord of Heaven until about 1,000 years BC. They made him more and more distant. And they actually forbade people to give him worship directly because he was too great. And in that vacuum came other things into the Asian lands. The first missionaries there used foreign names of God to the peoples of Asia. They used what they knew as God, and they failed largely. But when missionaries came to Korea in 1884, they were unanimous to use one name when they spoke of God. They would call him Hananim, the Great One. They did so as Paul did, as Paul spoke of Theos in the Greek lands. One of the Korean traditions said Hananim, the Great One, had a son who desired to dwell among men. Korea opened up to the gospel. Korea was filled with it. God, to this day, South Korea is filled with the gospel. They say 10 new churches open every day. Southeast Asia, near Burma, are people called the Karen people. The Buddhists tried to convert them, but they wouldn't be converted. When the first European came to them, the Karen people gathered around to listen to him. The guide explained, they said, they think you may be a certain white brother whom they've been expecting. What is he supposed to do? Asked the European. They're supposed to bring them a book that their forefathers lost ages ago. And who is the author of this book, he asked. They say the author is named Yahweh, the supreme God. And when the white brother returns the book of Yahweh, they will be set free. The Englishman was sent on a diplomatic mission not for the gospel and was nervous and said to them, well, tell them they're mistaken. I don't know this God. He didn't recognize what you just heard. He left the Karen people. They were disappointed. But the Karen prophet said, don't worry, he will come. The prophecy will not fail. A traveler entered a remote village, the Karen village. He had a book. He told them it was of the true God. The man was a Muslim. He gave it to the elders. They venerated the book. They developed rituals around the book. They made special containers for the book. And they waited for the teacher to come to the village and reveal its contents. In 1,000 Karen villages, teachers and prophets of Yahweh wandered, telling the people to turn away from evil spirits and return to the way of Yahweh. Finally, an American missionary finally reached the village of the book. He got to where the Muslim traveler had gone and given them the book. They took out the book of the Muslim, unveiled it. It turned out to be the Book of Common Prayer from England, filled with the Psalms of God from the Bible, Yahweh. The missionary said, you've been worshiping this book, but I will teach you to worship the God whom the book reveals. The keeper of the book took off his priest of the Karen people, took off his ritual dress, and became a humble believer in Jesus, who he called the Son of Yahweh. In 1817, an American Baptist missionary, famous missionary named Adoniram Judson, arrived near Rangoon, Burma, with a Bible in his arms. He learned Burmese. He dressed in a yellow gown, preached to the Buddhists. 7 years went by. He won one person to the Lord. He was discouraged, or it was discouraging. But since he only had one disciple, he had a lot of time on his hand to translate the Bible in and learn that language and translate the Bible into that language. One day a man came to his house for work, a man who had murdered 30 men, a robber, and he gave the gospel to him. The man soaked up the word as fast as he was translating it. And he realized he was the first one among his people to hear the news. It turned out the people who had refused to convert to Buddhism is because they held fast to that belief in that God, Yahweh, and that they had a lost book that had to be brought back. Turned out about 800,000 people were waiting to receive him. The Cahn people responded to the book of Yahweh. And now the man who only saw one person saved in years, now thousands and thousands were coming through that convert. It tells you something. You know, you can be witnessing and sharing, never get discouraged, you never know. But he just had to stay faithful and keep going, and then he saw the harvest. And they were all around him, but he couldn't speak their language, and they didn't know, so he never knew the whole thing about them waiting for this. Miracles waiting to happen here. But in its time, among these people, they believed that Yahweh had created a man, and he created two people and put them in a garden. But an evil being deceived them to eat fruit of a tree of testing. And then they became subject to disease and aging and death. But they believed that Yahweh had a book which they lost. One day it would be brought back to them. Same theme. And they had to stay away from false gods and wait for the word until that came. That's why they weren't easily converted. Listen to one of the words of the Cahn people's songs to Yahweh. Yahweh is eternal, who created the world in the beginning. Yahweh is unsearchable. Yahweh will come and the dead trees will blossom. The king of Cahn, the Cahn people, will come. The earth is the treading place of the feet of Yahweh. Heaven is his throne. Oh, people, love Yahweh and don't take his name in vain. And love each other. If we do not, it is the same as if we do not love Yahweh. The sons of Yahweh, the white strangers, obtained the words of Yahweh in ancient times.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Hope of the World is dedicated to the goal of spreading God's Word and salvation to every land and people. We do this by spreading the Word throughout the world and sponsoring compassion projects to the most poor and needy around the earth. To get in touch or have a part in God's work, just write to Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA. Or go to hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821.